Well, this is a new project we've been working. It's a sculpture about kinetic energy, and we are working on it, Mr. Carlos Lora and I, Manuel Molina. We are working on it on Santo Domingo right now in the central unit of our labs. Right now, central real estate of our labs right now. So first, you have to define what's kinetic energy. An analytic motion, whether it's a vertical or horizontal motion, has kinetic energy. There are many forms of kinetic energy. You have vibrational energy that is for vibration motion. Every vibration, or when you talk, even when you talk, your vocal strings can have kinetic energy because the vibration that they generate when you talk about it. You have rotational energy when you just rotate a simple pendule, or when you just rotate a rim on a car. This rotational energy. And translational energy is due to the motion from one location to another. When you move yourself to one point of the room to another point, is you're having transactional kinetic energy. So we already defined what's kinetic energy and why we want to create a sculpture of kinetic energy, because we want to create a personification and show how kinetic energy intervenes in architecture, and how you can combine and take advantage to that to create better projects and more interesting and more habitable, or the way you can use that information to create better projects, or create projects that have something different to the time and can preserve being innovational into the time. So how you to transfer kinetic energy from one moving object to a stationary object via work. In physics, work is a measure of energy transfer and refers to the force applied by an object over a distance. When a golf club is swung and hits a stationary golf ball, some of the club kinetic energy transferred to the ball, and the club does the work of the ball. Is in an energy transfer such as this one, energy moves from an object to another, but stays in the same form. So if we look, if we see this graphic right here, we can see we have a moving object that is going to move to the right and creating a simple pendulum and a curve. When the A object hits B object, the amount of energy that needs to be transferred is the same energy relative in the height of the object and the force I apply into the object, or the force that the body contains itself. When we have the A object and hits the B object, the B object is gonna move with the same force and direction that the A object did. So then you're gonna move again to the C object in that point. The loss of energy is almost nil, because we have a perfect curve with no friction, with no retraction, with anything that can hold our object. And then the energy is going to be transferred to the object at the same height, at the same force that A object. So why we want to create a kinetic energy sculpture. Kinetic energy sculpture is in which movement as a more driving part of the changing electronic image is a basic element. In the 20th century, the use of actual movement, kineticism, became an important asset of the sculpture. Naum Gabo, Marcel Duchamp, Laszlo Moholy-Nagy, Alexander Calder were pioneers of modern kinetic sculpture. We wanted to create a kinetic sculpture, a kinetic body, to just advance and show how you can intervene with the energy transformation, the energy translation to architecture, and create movement between those. So In that case, we saw this reference. It's the first one that names calligraphy by David C. Rowe, because has a super time effect with both pendulums and can rotate completely around their axis. And the free pendulum can rotate in either direction. This is a constantly gravitable pendulum system. That system that we're looking here is a system where the pendulums are rotating in the same opposite directions, but the same cycle. And then we can create a conservation of energy in the time with that sculpture. The second one is Infinity by the same guy, David C. Roy, created that in 2017. It's a moving wall sculpture powered by kinetic energy. After winding it up, an internal spring and gears work together to rotate in front and back wheels forwards and backwards in various patterns up to 8 hours. The conservation of energy in this object is incredible. You can conserve the energy that you use to start the movement for almost 8 hours. So we are seeing when all the circles create a cycle and start to circle around, we create the infinite symbol. And that makes the name of the sculpture. Even in Arclap's wheel, we have kinetic energy, because if you look here, we have two wheels, like we can see two wheels. These two wheels, when some of that wheel rotates, the other will have to rotate in the same direction, but in the same direction. And when one of the projects moves around, the other project has to move, because the wheel never stops. Because when you transfer the energy of the one wheel, it's going to be transferred to the other wheel, and we have to continue moving the wheel every time to don't, because the wheel doesn't stop. So which sculpture we want to create? We're going to create this. I'm going to create a double sculpture. Like, I'm going to create a sculpture with two sides, a reflection with one side, a reflection with another. One of the sides will be closed, and one of the sides will be open. The movement is generated by the center of two sides. When one's closed, the other is open. When one is open, the other is closed. And we are wanting to transfer the size, the energy, and the openness of the one side to another. If you will see in plan, this was how it looks when one side it's open and the other side it's closed. So that's it.